Alright, so you're running a game of Lancer, but the idea of needing battle maps, minis, terrains, and a virtual tabletop seems like it's going to be expensive and time consuming. You haven't quite heard of anyone running the game Theater of the Mind, so you don't know if it will work. After all, movement is a big part of the game, it's abstracted and built like a big ol' PvE stompy mech war game if you were to believe the masses. Well, I recently ran a game of Lancer with the greatest virtual tabletop known to humanity. The human mind. 600 miles of synaptic fiber, 5.5 ounces of cranial fluid, 1,500 grams of complex neural matter. A 3-pound pile of dreams. But I'll tell you what it really is. It's the ultimate battlefield and the ultimate weapon. Mount up, Lancer. I'm Sunny Mecha, and today I'm going to teach you some mental shorthands I had to develop on the spot when running this game of mechanized chivalry. Running Lancer's Combat Theater of the Mind is not as daunting as one might think. I'm going to assume that you already know how the combat works in Lancer, or at least the basics. This isn't a video breaking down the rules of combat. That video is still very much in the pipeline. I'm here today to teach you how to run the game without burning yourself out before you get to the first session, hoarding battle maps, tokens, and all manners of assets. We're going to start with the most basic yet crucial bit of info you need. Distance. The player wants to know two main things. 1, am I in range? And 2, can I do something cool? Distance in Lancer is already abstracted for ease of scale on the table. This is good. This lets us take full advantage of the abstraction to fudge distances. The scale I use is 1 space is within melee range, 10 spaces is within medium weapons range, 20 spaces is a few kilometers away, and is generally within sniper/artillery range, and anything above a 25, you're sniping ships out of orbit from the surface of the planet. That's like Apocalypse Rail ranges right there. You as the GM need to only know if the enemy is in one of these ranges. One common visualization technique is a ring split up into segments, with the center being melee range and each subsequent ring being a greater distance. Kind of like a radar, actually. If that helps keep a clear image in your head, use that. Otherwise, just keep a mental note of where everyone is. If you're unsure if a character is close enough to attack a hostile NPC, just let them. They're in range unless it doesn't make sense for them to not be in range. Like, for example, the target they want to stab was the sniper from the outskirts of the battlefield. Second thing that could make running combat a bit difficult unless you're keeping track of tokens or a piece of paper is the turn order. It's not as difficult in Lancer with the player taking a turn, then the GM, then the player, then the GM, back and forth, with the players nominating who goes next in the turn order. There are no initiative rolls in Lancer. You can take this a step further by having all the players take their turns at the same time. Chaotic and controversial, I know, but hear me out. By doing this method, you actually allow the narrative flow from the pilot segments of the game to bleed through into the mech combat segments of the game. Let me explain. When I say the players go at the same time, I don't mean have them all dogpile on you. There's still a turn order, but the players go one after the other, each talking to each other and coordinating their movements and attacks. Sometimes you get interesting outcomes like a bigger mech throwing a smaller melee mech at the enemy fastball special style, or a Nelson mounting a Lancaster and riding out like a cavalry charge. What you're doing here is stripping away the game board and pushing the players into creative problem solving. The problem? The enemy is trying to kill you. The solution? Synchronize death via creative application of tow cables and centrifugal force, with the pendulum being an Everest with 2 knives and a death wish. That would be very difficult to pull off if you adhere to a strict turn order with Theater of the Mind. Third and final tip, and this is an old one, budge the hit points a little. If combat is dragging a bit, let your players kill their target prematurely. Is an NPC meeting an anticlimactic end with the dice? Have them set their reactor to meltdown while they emergency eject and try to escape to fight another day. Role-playing games are all about the drama, the feeling of being the center of a fictional story. You, as the GM, are the director, the facilitator of their story. This is an escapist hobby. Let your friends escape for just these few hours and let them live in a world where they can stomp dictators with the 10-ton steel boot of justice. Let them punch and shoot their problems away. Let them be the big dumb heroes, at least for just this little bit. These are just methods that worked for me. Don't stress about the rules. Play them fast and loose. And hey, you're gonna do great. You got this. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and subscribe, like, or even comment some methods that work for you in the past below. I read all of your comments and reply when I can. It helps keep me motivated and helps keep me from getting suppressed by YouTube's NHP. Every bit helps. I'll catch you around.